For those of you that haven't used the software before or aren't too familiar with the layout, MeasureSquare Stone Tile has a bunch of tools up here at the top, and our workflow that we're going to follow is going to go from left to right. So pretty much, I'm going to start with my area takeoff to draw out my my countertops or my other designs here. Then I'm going to move on to the room takeoff tab. The room takeoff tab is more for drawing rooms, such as these bathrooms I've got on this architectural plan. You might not need it at all if you don't really work with putting any product on walls or on any things such as like vanities, things like that. Next, we're gonna move on to our worksheet module. Our worksheet module is just going to be kind of like a spreadsheet that's going to be auto-populated with your products, and it's going to list out all the data that you need about this material, such as the quantity, the unit, cost, sales pricing, as well as the total for the job, and it's pretty configurable. Next, we're going to move on to the quote, which is going to be kind of a preview, like a PDF preview of your materials and the quantities. And of course, after that, dry lay and the shop drawing. So dry lay is going to be more for your high-end residential projects where you can arrange your pieces, your slab pieces onto these slabs. And it's going to be great for vein matching, for example. Next up, we're going to do shop drawings, which I'm going to discuss on how to kind of customize those. All right, so going back to area takeoff. So what I've got right here as an example is a architectural plan of a multi-family project. So as you can see, I've got some plans here with multiple apartment units, and each of these apartment units have their own different countertops, their kitchen countertops. So I'll go ahead and show you, first of all, when you want to get started, you want to import your plans first. Just click on the import tool, and then you would find your architectural plan, import that and scale it, and then bring it into the software here. You can choose to have your plans imported onto one tab, as I've got here, or you can have them separated out into different tabs. So this definitely helps with organization and estimating your projects. So now I'm going to move on to just doing a basic takeoff of this countertop here. And to do this takeoff, I'll have to use a drawing tool. So up here in the toolbar, under the area takeoff module, there's a tool called the Draw Area tool. I'll go ahead and left click on that, and you'll see a crosshair pop up. I'm simply going to left click on this corner here because that's where I want to start. Let me zoom in real quick to make it more accurate. And then I'll left click and move my mouse over to the next corner, left click again. And then I'll follow that same action for the rest of my corners of this countertop. And notice how when I draw, the cursor or the crosshair kind of snaps into place. That's because the software recognizes that this is going to be the width of your countertop, so it's assuming that you want to place it here. So it makes it easy to draw. Definitely makes it save you a little bit of time and makes it more accurate. So I'll go ahead and place that last corner here, and I've got one more side of this countertop to draw. So when that happens, I can just go ahead and right click, and the software will automatically draw that last edge of that countertop for me. So also another time saver. So at this time, I've got this L-shaped countertop. What I do need to do next is to add my seams in because I've got a stove right here. And of course, I want to break up the shape around this corner as well. So I'll go ahead and click on the splitter tool to draw my seams. Now there's a couple of different options here. For my stove, it's going to be a horizontal seam. So I'll go ahead and click on horizontal splitter. And I'll just want to hover until I see that line preview over the appropriate location. Then I'll left click to drop that in. So we're not done yet. We still got to create an area for that stove to go. So what I'll do is I'll click on this red little diamond shaped handle for this seam, left click and just drag it down. Drag it down to make shape for that stove. And so that's how you make space for your objects such as your fridge or your stove here. All right. So next up, we're going to add another seam in this corner, and this time I want to make it a vertical seam. So I'll go ahead and use my splitter tool again and select vertical splitter this time. Then I'll go ahead and left click on that corner, wait for it to snap into place, and click. So now I've broken up my countertop into 3 separate pieces, which should make it easier to fit on a slab. Next up, now that we've got our seams in, is to add in our, we're going to add in our splashes now. So to do that, I'll go ahead and click on the splash tool in the upper toolbar. Just click on splash, bring your mouse and hover over that area that you want to add that splash to, and you'll see this kind of green preview pop up. Go ahead and left click to drop it there, and then I'll do the same thing for the rest of the walls here. So we've added about 4 splashes total. Next up, I'll go ahead and add our laminate edges. So our laminate edges work pretty similarly to the splash. Just click on it and hover over the edges where you want to add it. So it's just as easy as that. You may be wondering, how do you change the height of your splash? Because currently right now it's set to 4 inches, and what if you want to set it to 6 inches, and what if you want to set it to 4 inches instead? So you can definitely double click on the dimension here, and you notice how it highlights. You can actually change it to 4 inches, and that's how you can resize it. Of course, you can set the default for your splash height in the system settings. That's always going to be an option for you. I just have mine set to 6 inches by default. And the same thing goes for your laminate edges. So now it's time to go ahead and work with our products here. So over here on the left-hand side of the screen is going to be your product catalog. So the product catalog is we're going to create a list of all of your products, such as your cut stones, your ceramic tiles, and labor products, any count products, for example, such as sinks. All of them can be created here. Simply click on the plus button. Go ahead and enter something in, such as this sink we're going to create here. And we're going to give it a count item because we're going to count it 1 by 1. Click OK. And then, of course, this pops up where we can select things such as colors. You can set the pricing of these as well. I'm going to set this to maybe about $15. And then I can also select a symbol as well. Let's say, for example, this one. Click on Save. And then just to show you what the rest of our products look like, for example, the cut-to-size stone I'm going to be using, such as this ST15, I can select different things, such as the sales price, cost price for this, as well as the slab width, length, and thickness of the slabs I'm going to be using. Additionally, I can add things like select the color and the description as well as any details about the vendors and the manufacturers. So one thing I'd like to cover is also going to be the pricing, right? So not just sales and cost price, but there's different ways for you to kind of set the pricing for your slabs. You'll notice 3 options: sell by usage, sell by net area, and sell by slab. So sell by usage just simply calculates the square footage of the material you're using. So for example, if you've got 10 square feet, then it's going to be 10 times that 55 or 10 times that 45 cost price. If I set it to by net area, what that means is that it's going to take that bounding rectangle of your shape here. So for example, if I were to use the countertop I just drew here, let's say that this is going to be my entire all the cuts I'm using. Then it would take the bounding rectangle of the cuts, depending on how I laid them out, and it would calculate the pricing based off of that. So it's gonna cost a little bit more than simply pricing by sell by usage. Now, the third option, sell by slab, simply means that you're going to sell by the entire slab. So whatever you use, that's what you're going to be selling. So even if you're using one entire slab and only 10% of the second slab, it's still going to count it as two slabs. So definitely a couple different options here. I'll go ahead and select my sell by usage for now. Okay, so now for my ST15 stone, to assign it to this countertop, all I'm going to do is I'm going to just drag and drop it into my countertop areas, like this. Now, since I do have a couple of different pieces here, I can select all of these pieces and you simply drag and drop it into one of them, and then it'll apply that ST15 stone to every single piece of my countertop, just like that. And you'll notice when you drag and drop your material into those shapes, then it'll also update the usage of this material. So that's one quick and easy way to kind of see what quantity you're working with after you drag and drop your material into the countertop. So I'm going to go ahead and add other materials as well. For example, this flat polish. This flat polish is going to be a labor charge. As you can see, the unit is set to linear foot. I've got it priced about $15 per linear foot. I've selected red as the color. So for this labor charge, to apply this to this countertop, I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I'll just simply drag and drop it into my shape here. So I'll go ahead and drop it here, 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 as well as to my wall splashes. One cool thing to note is that the system, MeasureSquare Stone Tile, will automatically recognize where to put and where to apply that labor charge. As you can see here, it only applied that flat polish to this outer edge here. It did not apply to the inner piece here where there's like a seam. And it did the same thing for those wall splashes as well. Applied it to these outer edges, did not apply to the places where it's touching the others. One other thing I'm going to add as well is going to be my undermount kitchen sink, which I just created here. I'll go ahead and drag and drop it into my countertop here like this. So I know this looks a little bit large, but it's just simply giving me a calculation. It's going to show up here as well. As you can see, I have one of this undermount kitchen sink. And of course, my total price is going to be about $15, as you can see there. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit smaller so it looks a little bit more aesthetic. So let's go ahead and make that a little smaller right there. Click Save, and it should be updated. That's perfect. So one other thing I like to do, since we are going to be doing some kind of advanced costing here, is going to be adding tags. So for the tags, if you're not familiar with those are just ways to add labels or label these different pieces in your countertop. For example, considering that this is a multifamily project and this is going to be a kitchen countertop for a K01, I'll have to go ahead and make sure that it's distinct from these other countertops here, which are, for example, type K02 and K03. So what I can do with that is just simply, for example, highlight all the pieces here, and then I'll go ahead and select the unit type. So what this does is, after highlighting, I get to apply this K01 label to every single piece in this countertop. This will allow me to break down my estimate later on in the process. So for example, if I click on these countertops here, you'll see that each piece is labeled as belonging to a K01 unit. Additionally, I can further categorize these as kitchen countertops as well, just to make them distinct from the bathroom countertops. Okay, all right. So now moving on, we're going to go ahead and cover how to use the worksheet. So for my worksheet, just to give you a basic run through of how it works, after you do your takeoff and after you add in your materials to your countertops, you're going to go ahead and click on New. And let's pick a bigger quote here. So let's, for example, try and click on a bid proposal, click OK. And as you can see here, I automatically get a worksheet with all my materials and all of the pricing kind of broken out here. So this one is a very simplified one. So it shows my proposal kind of broken down into these different areas, these different sections. So if you remember before, we added tags to our countertops. We broke it down by kitchen and also by unit as well. So this is what you're seeing here is going to be a room type breakdown. All my bathroom countertops are going to be broken out here. So for example, if I just collapse that section, you'll see that the total square footage for my bathroom is about 3,300 square feet with a sales plus tax amount of about $26,700. And for my kitchen, it's gonna be smaller, set to be about 688 square feet and about $51,000. We can also rearrange this worksheet by kind of moving things around. For example, let's say we want to break it down by the unit type. We can definitely do that as well. So what we can do is we can go to the Select Columns button, and we can choose to add additional things such as the item name and, of course, the unit type. Click OK. So now adding in those columns to my worksheet gives me even more detail as to what materials I'm working with, such as, like, for example, I've got a flat polish here. That was my labor charge. I've got my Kohler, which is going to be my sink cutout charge. And of course, my ST15 cut to size stone. So you can see it broken down out by here by the unit type. We can go ahead and actually, instead of organizing this worksheet by the room type, we can choose to organize it by the unit type. So we can move this to the left if we'd like. Whoops, excuse me. Oh, there we go. So we're going to go ahead and group this by two things here. Unit type and item name. Click OK. And you can kind of see how our worksheet is now broken out by the unit type here. So I can actually see for my bathroom of type B1, I've got the square footage and then my sales amount. Going to that K01 unit that we were looking at, which is right here, we can see that everything's broken out by the labor charge right here, and the ST15 cut to size stone and the undermount sink. So you can kind of see how you can customize the layout and the appearance of your worksheet so that it kind of fits your needs as to what kind of numbers you're looking for, what kind of breakdowns you're looking for. And all of this can be culminated into an actual quote that can be saved as a PDF document. So I go to my quote in the next section. I can kind of see what's broken out here. You can see my B1, B2, and K01 unit types listed out here. It looks this way because I've collapsed it that way in the worksheet. If I want to show those sections, then all I have to do is just uncollapse those, go back to my quote, and there it is, broken out by the unit types and the item names. So going down this quote in more detail, I can also see that I have my total down here, the tax, which can be customized, as well as my drawings that I've done for those countertops. So for example, there's that kitchen countertop I just did. Here's some others in more detail, as well as bathrooms and the room 3D renderings. Right. So again, these documents can be downloaded as PDFs, which you can then send to the rest of your team or to a customer to review. Just simply click on the export button there at the left. Okay. Moving on to our Slab Optimizer. So our Slab Optimizer is a pretty essential part of MeasureSquare Stone Tile when it comes to estimating things or estimating bigger projects like multifamily projects or commercial projects that have a lot of countertops, for example. So using those drawings that we did in the first step, it's going to take those and it's going to do a lot of calculations and figure out how to best lay out those different pieces onto your slabs. So that's what you can see right here. For my ST15 stone, I've got all these cuts, all these pieces laid onto my slabs that I have right here. It's going to tell me my material, what's the size of my slab, such as this 126 inch by 63 inch slab, and there's 3 of those calculated. The square footage of the slabs, pieces, and waste, as well as the yield percentage and waste percentage. So how do you actually use this? So what you'll actually need to do is click on the Import Worksheet tab. The Import Worksheet tab simply takes all of the data from this page. It's going to input it. It's going to tell the Slab Optimizer how to calculate it. So if I import that worksheet, I'll go and select the one I just did, which is going to be that bid proposal. And let's say I want to group it by unit type. I'll click OK. And I'll let it calculate for a couple seconds here. And what you'll get is going to be kind of a breakdown of the slab nesting by the different materials we've got going on here. So as you can see, it's broken out by the different unit types. Here's ST15, K01, ST15, K02, and so on for the rest of my stones and their associated unit types. So you can see it calculated all these slabs in just a matter of seconds. It's very, very fast, and it's a big time saver. Even in those big projects where you already calculated, you figure out how to do your slab nesting, and then you have to go back and make another change that can totally change your calculations. It's very simple. You would just edit your drawings in the first step, and then after you estimate, then you go ahead and start up the Slab Optimizer again, and it'll recalculate just a matter of seconds. No need to take hours just to factor in a small little change upstream. So to kind of give you some more details about what kind of options you can use with the Slab Optimizer, there are going to be these different fields here. For example, I've got 5/32 of an inch of a blade width. So setting this pretty much affects the thickness of the lines here, the lines between your different pieces. So it may impact your total yield percentage for, especially for their larger jobs. For smaller jobs, maybe the impact will be a little bit less. For the first cut direction, it's going to tell pretty much express your preference for how you want to cut these countertops. Do you want to cut them horizontally or vertically? If you set this to auto, the software will decide by itself based on the yield percentage. For the cut complexity, you'll see levels 2 through 6 here. Those levels correspond to pretty much the complexity of the machinery you're using. For example, a level 2 would be pretty a pretty basic device, such as like a bridge saw. Level maybe 4 to 5 might be something like a CNC machine. And level 6, which has the ability to do the most intricate cuts, would be something like a water jet. So level 6 would get you more yield typically in a larger project, and a level 2 would yield you the least. So just something to be aware of. Additionally, you can also calculate your yield percentage by usage as opposed to net area. And as recalled, usage just means that the area you're using. Net area refers to the bounding area of your different pieces. Additionally, down here, you can see an area where you can put in your slab information. So as you can see here, I've got a slab of 126 inches by 63 inches. This is going to be default. And I don't have a quantity set for this. If I don't have a quantity set, it's telling the software I can use however many I want of this slab. But there may be some situations where you only have a limited amount of that slab. Let's say, for example, I have 10 slabs of that. And then let's say I also have another slab of that same material that's going to be a different size. For example, 134 by 72. And I actually have 3 of these. So the software has the ability to kind of pick and choose which of these different slabs it uses to get the best result. So there's definitely a lot of flexibility here. So it pretty much places some constraints on it, or you can choose not to have constraints and then see what it comes up with for one slab size, for example. In this section below, you're going to see a cut table, which can be hidden or displayed. It's going to show you the different cuts of your countertop pieces. It's going to name them by area, also the length and width of those pieces, and how many of those there are. Additionally, you're going to see check boxes for each of the different areas here, and it's going to tell you pretty much this checkbox will tell the software, is it possible to rotate this piece or not? For example, you'll see a piece here arranged in a vertical, kind of a vertical configuration where the long side is oriented up. You can tell the software that, okay, you can actually choose to have this arranged horizontally or vertically, and it'll give the software more flexibility in how to cut those pieces. So that covers in detail the different options that you can input for the Slab Optimizer. Um, as for getting the data from the Slab Optimizer, you can definitely import the cut information to Excel by clicking on Export Excel. The Import Excel button, it simply means that you can import the cut information to the Slab Optimizer. There's also an Export CAD button, which will let you export this to a DXF file, which you can then feed into a CNC machine if you'd like. And then, of course, export to PDF. So that pretty much covers most of the details about the Slab Optimizer. Hopefully that was explained to your satisfaction, and definitely let us know if you have any questions afterwards. Right. For dry lay, we're going to go ahead and skip over that today since we're focusing more on the costing, the Slab Optimizer, and the shop drawings. So for the shop drawings, your shop drawings are actually fed in from those drawings that you did in the area takeoff module. So whatever you draw can be imported in. You just simply click on Import Takeoff, and it'll bring in all of your different countertop drawings that you did. By default, it's going to show the shape, and it's going to show the dimensions of all of these pieces here. Additionally, it's also going to show the different materials that you're working with. For example, I've got material set here, such as ST15. I can have the option to add in other macros in. For example, if I right-click on this empty field next to Finish, I can click on Insert Macro and select, for example, Linear Product. And as you can see, it'll automatically bring in whatever linear product or labor product was inserted in here. And so you'll see flat polish appear here. And the same thing for the material that I'm using. It's also a macro, so it automatically brings in the name of that stone. If we go to a different countertop, we might find, yes, we'll find a different countertop with an ST15 stone applied. And of course, there are other things you can add as well. Some of the easy things you can add to a shop drawing are going to be additional dimension lines. For example, let's say for this countertop, I can choose to add another dimension here, right there. And there is going to be an additional dimension line. You can also add things like notes as well, such as, and just place that onto your shop drawing. You can insert tables and photos as well as different little symbols or line drawings that you can make. You can also save. You can also save a shop drawing as a template so that you can continue using that same layout in the future. So what that looks like is this. You can see the different templates that I've gotten by just simply clicking on Manage Templates. Here's my default template, and here's going to be a different template with a different layout, as you can see. I can edit my default template using this this module here. I can add different different fields, different data here. I can make certain areas wider. For example, I can just definitely drag this section up or down if I like. I can make this section a little bit wider if I like as well. And also, of course, add different areas to put my macros. So definitely a lot of ways you can customize your shop drawings. After you're done, just simply click on Save, and then, yes, save, and you'll be able to use that template again in the future. Alrighty, so I think I covered everything that we needed to go over today for the MeasureSquare Stone and Tile webinar. Let's go ahead and go to questions now. Okay, and while we're waiting for questions, I'll go ahead and go over some details about MeasureSquare as a company. So as you can see on this screen here, we do have on-demand support. We are available over the phone or email on Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. We do offer custom tailored onboarding upon purchase of our software, just to ensure you guys get off to a running start and stay on track for your projects. So definitely recommend that, especially if you do have multiple team members that need to be trained. And of course, we're always updating our software. We're always constantly working on making it better, making it smoother, adding additional features. So, and a lot of that comes from the really valuable feedback that customers like you have. And you'll always get those consistently. So another thing that you're getting that's pretty bang for your buck. Additionally, other ways that you can get support on how to use the software is using our AI chatbot. It's available to you on the MeasureSquare website. Just simply type in a question and we'll be able to answer that pretty well. And that is always available. So available 24/7. We do have Udemy courses that we've built out that are structured. They have different lessons, videos for those lessons, and of course, projects that you can also follow along with and quizzes. So definitely recommend that as a starting point as a new user. We also have a Facebook user group. So definitely, if you have questions on how to join that, just go ahead and let us know. But it's great to connect with other MeasureSquare users and also staff on that Facebook user group as well. You'll get to network. You'll be able to either ask questions or you can help answer questions and kind of see what other projects that your fellow MeasureSquare users are doing. We also have YouTube tutorials on our YouTube channel. You can look for past webinars, such as this one we're doing, which will be recorded and uploaded. You'll be able to see tutorials on how to use the software, either doing takeoffs, estimations, or working with the products. And you'll be able to see information about any future updates and additional information. Lastly, we also do have a knowledge base. It's going to be a collection of pretty helpful articles on how to use certain features in MeasureSquare across all of its products. So there's definitely a lot of ways that we can help you succeed in your journey in using MeasureSquare. And additionally, to contact us, here's the information. That's the email, support@measuresquare.com, and our phone number is 626-683-9188. And just select option 3 to reach support. And for purchasing the software, feel free to reach out to Kathy. Email Kathy@measuresquare.com. And there's her phone number, 626-514-1828. And if you want more information about the MeasureSquare Stone and Tile software, there is a QR code at the right-hand side of the screen there. Let's go ahead and take a picture of that or look at it through your camera on your phone and click on the link. All right, it looks like we don't have any more questions for now, so let's go ahead and call it a day. I really appreciate your time in looking at this webinar. I hope you found it helpful. And as before, please go ahead and reach out to us if you have any questions at all. Thank you and have a great day.